we actually had to throttle the Facebook ads at that time because we were biting off more than we could chew.
Hey, my name is Felix T, and I'm the host of Shopify Masters, a weekly podcast powered by Shopify, the easiest way to sell online, in person, and anywhere in between. Each week, we invite entrepreneurs like you to share what they've learned growing successful e-commerce businesses. In this episode, you'll learn how to manage a business that requires customization for every product, how they crowdsource the design of their jewelry, and how they market their business when 50% of their customers are buying products as gifts. Before our show, I wanted to chat about Shopify shipping. Did you know that you can buy shipping labels for your orders at home and print them with a regular printer, get shipping insurance within the United States, and receive discounted shipping rates with certain carriers with Shopify shipping? There are no additional fees, carrier account, or app required. This is included with your Shopify plan, so check out Shopify shipping today at shopify.com/ship. Today I'm joined by Scott and Jacob from Revival Jewelry. Revival Jewelry designs and creates the modern locket and is on track to earning $1 million in 2020 and was started in 2018 and based in Orange County, California. Welcome, Scott and Jacob.
All right, thanks for having us.
Hey, so your vision was to offer a more modern alternative to the locket. So first of all, tell us about more, describe the product to us a little bit more, and why did you feel like the current design, or not current, the design that you're coming in to replace is outdated?
So, I think there's a real lack of modern lockets, and that's how we kind of market our product as a modern locket, because a lot of times we'll you'll find lockets are old-fashioned and dated. And really, this thought came about when I wanted to have a personalized piece of jewelry for my mom when my father had passed away. And this was, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And, really, she's more of a hip mom, I guess I'll put it. And so, she's not going to wear like an old-fashioned locket. And so I kind of had the idea of making a locket that she would wear. And, this came about when my sister came to me with an invention she had for a small gem, and it almost looked like a stone you would find in any jewelry. And as we kind of got together and said, hey, why don't we make some jewelry out of this? She thought, let's try making some rings. But in my mind, I just wanted to make the one pendant for my mom.
So your sister came to you with an invention. This is something that she invented, or you said that did she find this invention? What's the story behind that?
Yeah, so she and my uncle came up with the idea, and they sort of, I wouldn't say they came up with a prototype. They came up with a lens prototype, but when she got together with me, we figured out, hey, maybe we can turn this into a jewelry piece that someone would wear. And around that time is when I talked to Jacob, because we were friends, and I knew he grew up actually as a jewelry designer. And so it was like perfect, to have him involved. I mean, he can tell you about what his first thoughts were and how we ended up getting together.
Yeah, please tell us. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was a great idea. Like Scott said, so I come from a jewelry background, grew up around it, and started doing jewelry design at 13, actually. And so I was very familiar with just an array of different things of what people like, what they don't like. And lockets were always that thing where I knew sentimentality was a huge indicator as to what people connect with in their jewelry. Lockets have that sentimentality, but are very low in terms of, style, and they're very antiquated. So it was always an older audience. So when Scott showed me the concept, I immediately was intrigued, because I thought, wow, this is not compromising style at all. If anything, we can now put this into any context. And my jewelry design kind of light bulb just went off of, wow, this is, rings, charms, pendants, whatever you can imagine it can go into, and really like have the same level of sentimentality that people want to have in their jewelry, and that connection with it, bring even a newer level of personalization that people can have and connection to their jewelry, but also not compromise the style at all. So I was in love with it immediately.
Got it. So can you guys describe a bit about what your version, or what you're bringing to the market? Like, what is the modern alternative? Tell us a little more about what you guys are bringing to the market.
Sure. Yeah. So, I would kind of survey friends and my mom and sister included about what kind of jewelry they like to wear. They often shop at places like Pandora and whatnot, and so they're all about what's currently trending in jewelry. And so those are the kinds of pieces that, I thought maybe we could make, right? And put a special image inside of it. That was even before we thought we could take this to market and sell it, and mass produce it. But we just wanted to see, hey, can we come up with a piece, a prototype, and that my mom or my sister would like? And so that we started with. I asked Jacob. I kind of threw some ideas at him, and I don't think they were very good. Really, Jacob is the designer here, and so he kind of threw a few sketches back at me, and we kept. Not only did we survey our family, but I think we took it to friends as well. And when we hit that right, got the right response from friends saying, "Oh, I would wear that." And I think that's when we decided, all right, this is what we need to, start making. And so.
God, I'm not sure how nuanced the evolutions were, the iterations were, but can you walk us through that? Like, what did you start with, and what kind of changes did you make along the way that made it to the final product?
So we started with a piece called the Halo. That was the very first piece we came up with before we decided to start marketing it. And the name behind it, kind of shares the sentiment of kind of an angel overlooking your loved one, right? And so, we have a kind of a halo with stones around it, and it encompasses the picture. And once we were able to put it together and get comfortable with the nuances of how to make it seamlessly, because I knew nothing about making jewelry or producing jewelry. Jacob was kind of the expert on that, so I did a lot of learning from him. Maybe you could kind of.
Yeah. We had so we started with the halo. It was very simple design. Once again, we were just kind of throwing it out there to gauge reaction. So there was nothing really special to it. It was just kind of this design that we thought was simple, likable. It started, the concept was really taking off. I think at the time, the design, people were like, okay, I could kind of take it or leave it, but I love the concept behind it. And so that's when we regathered and we're like, okay, let's actually now kind of step out a little further and try to come up with some better designs. And so what we did was we kind of thought through the process of how can we create something that's hitting different price points for our customers, because I come from a fine jewelry background, so it's very different than what we're doing here in terms of price per unit. So I thought let's create something that people can buy at $75, $80 all the way up to $200, $250 kind of thing. And so we ended up coming up with 4 designs. One very simple, just octagon without stones, so that it could, it's very light, not a lot of metal, didn't cost a lot, so we can offer that to people at a lower price. We had the Halo was the next product, and I kind of redesigned it, made it look a little sleeker, nicer, add a little more weight to it, so that women were saying it felt very dainty, the very first model, So we would have things also just where we would take this to women and show them and just get their feedback and say, hey, here it is, and literally had parties at one time to just show them the product and get their feedback.
And that's where we thought we could turn this into businesses.
Right.
Because the reaction we were getting from people are like, immediately they were like, man, can you make one for me?
Right.
Exactly. I love this, because these are people who wouldn't normally wear a locket or anything like that. But they were just, some of them would look at the jewelry and say, I love this piece, and not even knowing that it has an image in it, and say, I want it. So that's when we knew this is something that we could really take to market. So
that's great. Give us an idea of the timeline. So you started with this initial prototype. You guys are going through rounds of iterations. You were testing it with putting it in front of family at first, and then friends, and then it sounded like you started getting the recognition from strangers that didn't know either of you, but they still love the product. So give us an idea of the timeline, how long this took to get to the point where you both were like, wow, this is actually a product that we should start trying to sell online.
So I think we were both working at our jobs, and I have a background in the semiconductor industry, and I was working full time, before I decided to move into this. And we were sitting around saying, look, we have a product here, but there are a lot of different ways we could go about marketing this, right? And so we talked about direct sales being something, because at the time I think a lot of people were into the
the jewelry party thing.
Yeah.
That started back, if we're putting it on a timeline, that started 2017, right? Beginning. We started
talking about that.
Yeah. And I remember Scott came and initially had the idea with his sister, was like, hey, can you make some pieces? And so Scott had kind of handed me some designs, early 2017, started making them for him. I was at one point like, hey, I'm not a fan of these designs really, but I think we can do better.
Right.
And so we kind of collaborated. That's where we did the halo. And then when we started to we showed actually friends and family those designs that weren't that great. You remember early on, and got good response.
But I think we finally landed, and thank God that we were going to go direct to consumer as the route to spread the message and really market these things, because I don't think we tossed around the idea of like you said, party. And also selling wholesale to jewelers.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is, I think the party would have been great because it's a product that you have to really demonstrate for people to get. And so it's not just going to sell itself. But I think direct to consumer online provides you, having a website that educates the customer, right? So we have that opportunity to do that. And I thought that would be a great way to launch this, even though some people, I'm not sure if Jacob at the time was too keen on it, or there maybe a few others thought, you can't really sell this online. But I thought, look, it's the perfect platform because, your website can have all the information showing them what it does and how and not to digress too much, but that's kind of our strategy to marketing this, is that 100% of our sales is online. And, we use Facebook mostly to generate traffic, and Facebook paid ads. And for us, while I was trying to educate myself on how to do this, because I wasn't well versed in Facebook marketing and all that. As I was learning about how to market this on Facebook, you'd go online, do your research, and people would talk about building your funnel strategy, right? But to me, really, we take more of a send traffic to our website strategy, and really we're sending them through the funnel on our website itself. And so our conversion, I feel like, happens faster than the average product. Of course, it just varies on what you're trying to sell online. So if you're selling services that have a longer sales cycle, or big ticket items, obviously you probably want to have a multi-tier approach first on Facebook itself, or through sending different touch points online. But for us, I think once we get people to our website, it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward on how to order, what it does. And so we thought that was the best approach for taking this to market, was direct to consumer online.
Got it. Yeah, and that price point probably helps too with how much you can spend to acquire a customer. And I want to talk a little bit more about this.
Sure.
I think, Jacob, it was you that mentioned that your goal was to hit a different price point, or at least offer different price points, and that range was from $70 to $200. What did you see about this kind of price range? What did you see about that market that made you say, let's go after this market, this price range?
So, the background I come from, it was a lot of custom design. It was, like I said, higher priced items. So I knew that those would be few and far between. I think it would have taken a lot more to gather sales if we were talking about, let's sell this thing into the context of real gold and sell it for $7,500 a unit. It's a lot of having to educate a customer and having to bring them along, like Scott said, that funnel of education alone. So to me, it didn't seem like that was the way to go at all. And Scott knew that as well. And we kind of just talked about, I think this is a more mass market type of item. It's things that when we got the responses, and once again, sentimentality played into that a lot of, the different reasons people would put these photos in, from, in memoriam type of photos to their pets to all these kinds of things. We realized this is more mass market than higher end stuff. So let's create designs and be cognizant of that when we're designing things, so that we can produce things that are at that lower price point, so that people can kind of, we can spread it farther for people and make it more available.
Are you guys also in the gifting market? Are there a lot of buyers that are buying it as gifts?
Yes. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I see a huge percentage of our customers shipping it to drop shipping it to their friend as gifts for family members, for special occasions like birthdays, graduations. Mm-hmm. But that's, I'd say about half of our sales are in that, and half our customers buy it for themselves. And
yeah, I mean, I think half is pretty significant in the sense that you do have a very giftable product. How does that affect the way that you market or you message the product, either in your ads or when people land on your site? Do you try to encourage people to buy as a gift?
Tell you the truth, we haven't focused on gifting messaging. Mostly, it just so happens that people. Well, you know what? One of our main ads, it does show that it's a perfect gift item. Mm-hmm. That's right. So we do have some of that messaging, and so but on the once you become a customer, tell you the truth, you just really raise a good point. We don't. This is a great gift, but we only recently started, making card inserts for our customers because they've been requesting that a lot. And usually we're talking to our customers after they purchase the product, and so we're still in the we're always learning from our customer. In fact, that's been from the very beginning. We kind of crowdsource our designs. If you look at our website now, I think we have 8 what we call our signature designs, and we're continuing to build more designs based on what customers want. But so we're constantly getting feedback from our customers on how to approach the whole gifting side of things as well, because I think we along the way provided gift boxes that are nicer. We all of our jewelry comes in nicer revival jewelry boxes now.
Yeah.
Because they were always asking for jewelry boxes, and now I was surprised to learn that it's not common practice for a lot of jewelers to, when you order jewelry online, to send you a jewelry box with your item. When you order stuff, a lot of times it just comes, packaged like not so nice. We were very surprised. So we decided to provide nice packaging when we send you an item as well.
Got it. And so your business is not just like a straightforward where you go online and you shop and you buy and it gets sent right to you. It's customized, right? It's customized jewelry. Mm-hmm. Can you explain the technology and the process that goes on when someone goes to your site and they upload a photo, and like what happens at that point?
Yeah, so you go to our site. First, and like I mentioned before, all the instructions are right there on our page, so it's pretty simple. Once you find a jewelry piece that you like, you click through to that piece, and then there's a button that asks you to upload a photo that you. And this is an important piece of how we market this. I think a good portion of our sales are mobile. Because people keep all their photos now on their phones, right? So if you're going to our website from your mobile device, it's really simple to upload a photo that you have already there, and then once you see it we have a little tool that we use, and in fact it's a Shopify partner app that helped us build that solution. You upload your image, then there's tools for cropping, rotating, and adjusting the image the way you want it, and it'll come to you how you crop it. So it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, so you worked with a Shopify partner, like a development firm, a developer, to create the technology for this?
Yeah, well, no, it's an app we use, and I think that's the beauty of Shopify is that anything you need, I feel like there's an out-of-box solution these days. We were wary about building a website because we thought, look, everything has to be custom built, all the stuff we want. But as it turns out, Shopify has a lot of, out-of-the-box solutions for whatever you can think of. And so we use a lot of that.
What was the app that you used for this?
So the one we currently use is Product Personalizer, but there are a few others. But this one was works well for us because we didn't have, a whole lot of SKUs to start. And
so once it's been personalized, it gets into your system as an order. How is it made? Like, how is it the actual? I'm not sure how much details you can go into, but how is the actual jewelry made?
Yeah, so they're basically 2 parts to our production. Is we have the processing and production fulfillment, and the processing we kind of keep as a trade secret because we do have a utility patent pending on the lens itself. But getting the photo in, we have our own in-house lab where we do that. But as far as putting the pieces together, we have a 3D printer here, so we cast all of our. We print molds on all of our prototypes, and then of course we send it out. We have some relationships with people who cast the jewelry, and they specialize in. We use mostly silver, 925 sterling silver, but we also use gold and of course, and we stuck with silver and rose gold because those two seem to be I feel like what silver is kind of the like one timeless metal, right? That people use for jewelry. And rose gold is current trend, but that's always been in and out as far as jewelry trends go. And so that's what our focus has been. Now, if we do get requests for custom pieces to cast in different metals, we'll do that for people. But we do everything in house, so we don't use. It's difficult to use third-party logistics for us because it's a customized, personalized piece, and so we fulfill everything here.
Right, makes sense. So you mentioned, beyond the customized jewelry, you mentioned that all the products that are available for sale right from your site are a lot of them are crowdsourced. Tell us more about that. Like, how do you crowdsource design of the jewelry?
Mostly through social media, and so we have a social media person. She will put out poll anytime we have a new design. In fact, we're working right now on some charm bracelets and charms that she'll be putting out on our Instagram page, and we'll send polls out. Also, we have a pretty extensive. Our email list is, I think last I checked, we have about 8,000, and so and these are people who are very actively involved, and we will go to them to ask, what they like, and so we'll have maybe 3 variations of a design, and then ask them, all right, do you like, design 1, 2, or 3, that sort of thing. So.
Got it. Yeah, I think there's so much power in just asking your customers that we sometimes try to come up with the answers ourselves when there's the answer by just asking your customers. So how often are you doing this? How often are you? It sounds like you're coming up with these designs, and are they made at this point, or are they actually physical products that you can take photos of, or are they prototypes, or they're mock-ups? I mean, that are then sent out to social media and your email list to get their feedback.
Yeah, what we kind of do is since I do CAD design with jewelry, it's pretty easy. So we'll think up an initial concept, and our team will kind of sit internally and say, hey, what do we want to do? And and so far it's been pendants only, and so for the pendants it was, let's create these. We knew we wanted different price points, right? So I kind of drew up some things, and then we kind of crafted it internally, and then said, okay, this is good enough to send out. And let's post it up. So I got renderings where, obviously it looks pretty realistic. The metals look real. The diamonds or CZs look real. And so it's all computer imaging, but we just throw it up there on social media and would have the votes and everything like that. And people would comment, oh, I like this, or I don't like this about this piece. One simple thing was from the halo that we first had to the halo we have now, it's very similar. But the common response was something as simple as, the stones should be a little bigger, and literally making them 25% bigger changed the whole look and design of the piece. And it became a much better seller than it was before when it was just slightly smaller, So paying attention to details like that with customers is important, but we kind of sat back. We in our Facebook ads and things like that, we get comments of, oh, I would love to see blah, blah, blah. And we get this amazing feedback from customers via email, Facebook, whatever, who say, hey, do you think you'll ever come out with, and fill in the blank? And so we definitely take notes of that. And when we see something commonly popping up, charms, for instance, was one of them. That's when we go back to our kind of internal team and say, hey, what do we think about releasing charms? And so that's kind of where we were at. And so I'm in the process right now of creating charm bracelets and charms for our customers, and that's going to be going out soon for their review.
How often do you test these designs out? How often are you guys doing this?
We're at first, it was not very often. It was maybe once a quarter. We would kind of revisit our designs and look. That was because we were just getting focused on launching and getting the product to a point where we felt comfortable with it. We made little pivots where we had only silver, and then, okay, now let's make all the pieces in silver and in rose gold. And then, made little kind of additions like that. But now we're looking to release things that customers really want, and men's jewelry is things we hear a lot, and charms are things we hear. So we're trying to take that a bit more frequently, where we revisit what customers want. So we're not trying to kill ourselves with the amount of SKUs we're wanting to release. Obviously, we're trying to go about it a systematic approach, but listening to our customers very carefully and trying to, make sure we're pumping out things that they really like and enjoy.
I mean, our signature line is just going to be there probably. We imagine for a long time, but we're always trying to add on to the signature designs by following different trends that are seasonal. So,
how many SKUs are you guys at today?
We have about all in all 19, if you include chains and
Now, you mentioned that one improvement that you made too from listening to your customers was around the packaging and the jewelry boxes. So tell us about how this happens. I'd assume this, not assume, but this obviously has an impact on your profit margins by going above and beyond what you would typically see other competitors in the space offering. So tell us about how you guys recognize that this was an opportunity that you wanted to take advantage of.
As when we were hearing that a lot of people were gifting this, and they were asking us. In fact, some people were asking us if they could pay for a box because our I didn't think our pricing was necessarily more expensive than what was on the market. So we realized maybe we could actually in our next iteration of our pieces, raise the price, and we actually did. Our initial pieces were. We made the mistake of designing them as necklaces that you couldn't remove the chains from. And, that's one of the immediate feedback we got from our customers that, hey, we want pendants with removable chains. And so when we made that changeover, we realized, hey, it's costing us more to do that, but we can also pass that cost on because it's reasonable. It's people will pay for that. And so as we did that, we also kind of factored in the cost of, having nice boxes. And so that's how we took, and really, it wasn't like we suddenly doubled the price. And so I think people, we thought we were going to get some backlash, or people telling us, why did you raise the price? We didn't. People kind of accepted and said, that's great.
Got it. Oh, and was this was this like going through iterations of design too, the jewelry box, or like how did you guys find the packaging of the jewelry box?
We previewed the different boxes that were available, and honestly, we designed one and stuck with it. It's we've gotten good feedback on it, and so we haven't really found the need to change the design. But of course, I mean, it's possible we could come up with different boxes for special different occasions and events, and that might be an idea. But right now, we just have one standard box that ships with our pendants. Now we do have less. These are more these paper mache type boxes that we send when you buy one of our non-pendant items. Like we have what we call our pillar, and we have a little piece that looks like a camera. We ship those, and we don't ship those in jewelry boxes. They don't come with chains. But I mean, sometimes we'll put them in a box for the customer if they do order a chain with it. So. But that's all. It's all mentioned on our website, so they know what they're getting.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying the show, please leave us a review on iTunes to let us know what you think or what you'd like to hear more of. Now, let's get back to the interview. Got it. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the Facebook strategy because you mentioned that this is how you're able to generate traffic through the paid ads. Tell us more about this strategy because it sounded like, Scott, I think you were saying how you had to learn this from scratch. So tell us about how you learned it from scratch because I think a lot of people out there are trying to figure it out or want to look into paid ads on Facebook but don't know where to begin.
No, I definitely encourage people just starting out to, tackle it on their own and learn as much as possible because early on, I've tried a couple people who were with agencies and said, hey, look, we can help you guys out. But I learned that, they weren't producing any better results than we were. So, and I think a lot of the conventional wisdom out there is, sort of this funnel strategy approach. But for us, I think if we kind of know who our customers are, just start with targeting, who your customers are and build your audiences around those interests. We did that for the entire first year. And once we started, building maybe, I think we had around 750 to 1,000 customers. We started using custom lookalike audiences on Facebook. If people are familiar with that, those work great once you have a great of course, Facebook works better when you have more data. So the more data you feed it, the better it works. But I think around the time when we had 750 to 1,000 customers is when that started taking off. The process of figuring out if you're starting a business, you should know who your customers are, right? And so I think, once we figured that out, we could target different interests, and based on, one of our biggest groups is pet owners. They buy our products a lot, and so we would try to find pet lover audiences, and another one was weddings, graduations. So.
Right. So I can see the different use cases, different types of customers. How does that change like your ad and your ad copy when you are targeting like pet owners or people that are engaged?
Yeah. So tell you the truth, we could probably be doing better, but as far as the return on ad spend we're getting, we haven't seen the need to create too many. We have 2 ads, tell you the truth. And there's one that's been running for a whole year and a half now, a year. So, ever since we started. I think we started marketing in March of last year.
Yeah.
On Facebook, and that's been running ever since, and it's been really working well. I think around the holiday season, fourth quarter, we were seeing like 11 to 22x. Our right now, I think we're closer to like 5x, and I think without having to change anything, we only have 2 basic video ads out there.
Amazing. So you mentioned that you aren't spending a ton of time nurturing them on Facebook. Your main goal with these ads is to get them to your website. And is that like the product page that you're looking to drive them to?
Exactly. So I think we used to, the first year we did spend a lot of money on buying cold traffic and, targeting kind of, the top of the funnel, introduction. But I think we quickly, once we started getting conversions, we switched to, having purchase conversions. And ever since, we've just been doing that, and it's been working pretty well, and it's been pretty profitable.
Got it. So once you hit that stage where you had enough customers, you're able to switch over to like a lookalike audience and set the conversion event to a purchase, and that really ramped things up for you guys.
Yeah, and honestly, it worked so much better than we expected. That we entered into some problems in Q4 when we hit Black Friday, and we were so overwhelmed. We hired seasonal help, and we were trying to scale production as fast as we could. We actually had to throttle the Facebook ads at that time because we were biting off more than we could chew, and so it was a learning experience. Yeah.
That's funny that you were getting so many sales that you had to turn down the marketing. That's always a good problem to have. So how quickly does the conversion happen once they see your ad, click on the ad to go to your product page? Do they usually buy immediately, or do they usually need to browse around more, get on your email list before they buy? How quickly does the conversion happen?
So interestingly, I was looking at lately. It's been shorter because in the past, as I review this, the analytics on Facebook, I'd say half of our about a third of our conversions were within a 1 week period, and then a third were within the 28 days. And here's the problem: is that resets once you go beyond the 28 days because Facebook only tracks for that long, right? And so, we suspect that it mostly takes up to a week. Now, right now, we're as soon as we run a new ad, we start to see conversions immediately because I think these are probably warmer leads that because we've already targeted. With very little budget, we reached like millions. So
yeah. So what do you do to help that conversion? Then, if they land on your site, they usually takes a week to buy. What do you find is attributing to them actually converting once they've entered your funnel?
I honestly. I'll say this: we let the Facebook algorithm figure that out for us because in some ways, I'm puzzled as to how someone comes to our website and on the same day, we're getting a lot more customers that'll convert, within a 24-hour period. I've noticed, and these are people who Facebook has already found that they were ready. We've had customers say, I don't know how Facebook figured it out, but they showed me your ad and they realized this is something I wanted and I didn't even know you existed. I think it's kind of funny how that works, because in most cases, I think it does take a few days for people to kind of think of what photo they want to upload. But we have a lot of customers that they already had their picture ready and they just didn't know we existed. You know what I mean?
Got it. Now, have you made any changes, though, to the product page or the website to improve conversions?
Yes. So initially, I think in our first month, we struggled a bit to get orders. And we learned that it's because we had to educate the customer on how to order, as well as exactly how the product worked. And we put that all on our website. And we do use a tool, a training tool. It's an app called Fira AI, and it's been helpful for us in terms of tracking the pathway the customer goes to once they come to our website. And we, the main page pretty much has everything you need, to make a decision right there. It tells you, who we are, what we do, and then, how to order. So if you spend maybe 10 minutes on the front page, it's enough time for you to make a decision. Because I think this is really an impulse buy a lot of times. And so that's why we're getting, but in many cases, it's because life events occur and they're always happening, right? Someone's always having a baby, or there's always someone having a graduation. And unfortunately, we also cater to people who've lost loved ones, right? They want a meaningful piece, to buy for themselves or for to comfort a loved one. So I don't think we ever, dry up the list of potential customers, right? And so.
Right. So one thing that you mentioned about how to get the customers coming back and getting that retention is to figure out ways to impress the customer. So say more about this. What are some examples of impressing a customer?
So we always say, we want to, constantly impress the customer, delight the customer. Anytime they contact us, if there's a problem they have with our product, we try to get to the core of what the product is, rather than just simply issuing a refund right away. But we have a very flex refund policy, and surprisingly, we have a low rate of return on our product. I think we have less than 5% rate of return, which is, I feel like that's uncommon in e-commerce. But I think it's also because once people have the product, it's just so personal that they don't, they and I think they also love our product. But we try to delight the customer by, going above and beyond. So anytime someone contacts us, we'll, they request almost anything within reason, we do for them. I mean, we constantly get customers asking us to overnight them product, and we'll do that whenever we can, even though it may cost us like $20 to do, right? So, or if we'll add an extra little gift for people if because they want to add something more.
Yeah, I was just going to say. I mean, just last week we had two separate customers who asked us to write notes for people, and so we went out and got some cards, and one was, I think, for a birthday, and they typed up. We asked them, what would you like us to say, and they typed up a whole message, and we wrote it. One was for a graduation. We're not going to be able to be there because obviously the COVID stuff going on right now, but just things like that. I mean, we really try, I think, to just put ourselves in the customer's shoes and go, hey, these are people. They're more than just customers, and so how can we treat them like that? So yeah, we try to go above and beyond as much as possible.
And we always like to ask, customers to share their stories behind, their photos as well, because, these are meaningful things to them. And, just to have a listening ear, right? And sometimes that's because one of our goals with Revival is to create community for people as well, so that they'll have a place where they can share their stories. And we're really wanting to focus on that these days. So we're building a social media strategy for that. In the first year, I think we let social media fall to the wayside because we were just so busy managing the business. And so we only, thank God we found someone to do our social media right before, all the shelter in place orders went through here in California. Because I don't think we could have, right now, we'd love to hire people, but it's hard to go out there, right? And so we were able to do that. And because we do want to grow our social media is so important to us, right? And so we're trying to do that, but part of that is building more of a community presence where people can share their stories, of the pictures they have in their pieces. And so that's one way we, delight the customer and also build customer retention. Then we had customers that have bought every single piece. In fact, some customers have bought like 3 or 4, and they'll put the same picture and give it to all their grandkids, or buy it for their aunt, or buy it for, so it's interesting that someone would buy the same piece 4 or 5 times and buy every single piece we have. So
yeah, it's always interesting to see the use cases that you never thought of with your product that you're putting out there. So speaking of basically COVID-19, the pandemic, the lockdown, how has your business been affected? What are some ways that you've been able to navigate these times?
Well, it's actually stretched our lead times, but we're fortunate that because we're not using third-party logistics, which I think most 3PL warehouses are up and running anyway. But for us, we have our own warehouse, and we're spread thin these days because of that. But orders haven't been affected. I think we thought initially, should we scale back our Facebook ads? Because we did see a drop for a couple days. When I think this was mid-March when we first were starting to hear the news. But within a few days, I think we started seeing orders continue to come in, and we had to think of ways to continue operating. And so, luckily, you can keep your warehouse operations going, and that's all we really have. And we're able to social distance because we only have right now 3 people. Well, we use a lot of contractors for different things, right? So, but we only have 3 full-timers right now.
Mm-hmm. So I want to talk a little bit about the growth. So the first full year, you did $265,000. So first, let's talk about that. Like, where were these first customers coming from for you to be able to, crack that 6-figure marks? I think that's obviously a big milestone for the first year in business.
Yeah. So, interestingly, we thought we would first go to friends and family to sell this product, but all of our initial sales came from Facebook. As soon as we put our ads out, we started getting. Now in the first month we only did $1,000, right? And in fact, the first half, I think we didn't do a whole lot. We did 60% of our sales in Q4, and I think that you'll usually see that with new businesses, right? In the beginning, it's slow to grow, and it kind of snowballs. And in fact, we're still seeing that right now. We're except for March, we continue to see month-over-month growth. In fact, April, we've already exceeded, March. And so,
amazing.
But yeah, but we, it was all Facebook. We do get a certain percentage of organic and non-paid, shares and, Google searches and whatnot. But I think, vast majority comes from Facebook. So for us.
Is there a lot of education around your product? Is it easy to explain, or do people get it right away, how the product works? What is a locket? Especially since, like you mentioned before, it is something that you're looking to bring a modern alternative to what you would probably consider more like an outdated jewelry. So how do you make sure that you're able to educate your customers that this is a modern take on it? This is actually how it works. This is what our unique kind of angle is.
Well, our initial ad shows exactly how it works. There's a video of we used a model. It's actually a friend of ours, and she kind of shows you how exactly it works. So your very first the first time you come in touch with our brand, you see what it is. Now, once you get to our website and you know that you can upload your picture and order the piece. Even when you receive it, once you open the box, we have a card insert in there with instructions on, exactly how to view your picture, the best practices on how to. In fact, I think our customers help us learn, that we can do a lot of different things with our piece. And later on, we started educating them more on how to do that. Like, we'll tell people, hey, you can actually view your photo using your cell phone. I think Jacob was the one who discovered that. But we also had customers that quickly discovered that you can also project your images using a cell phone. The flashlight apps. That's something initially we didn't even think of. So our customers have been kind of discovering those things. And but in any case, we were constantly educating the customer from our first ad they see to when you get on our website to even when you receive the product. We have another card insert with instructions on it. So I don't think there's ever any step of the way you're not going to know how to use it. Now, we do still get people who open the box, throw the card away, and they're like, all right, I'm having trouble seeing the image because some people look at it backwards initially because they look at the front gem and don't realize, oh, you can actually look straight into the gem because it looks like an actual like gem, that a stone that would go on gemstone that would go on jewelry. But in fact, that's the lens piece that you look to find the picture. So,
Got it. Now, so 265,000 in the first year, and again, we talked about at the beginning of this year that you're on track to cracking the $1 million mark in 2020. So obviously a big jump in revenue. What do you think changed, or what has changed from your strategy or what you guys are doing to go from low six figures to cracking $1 million?
So once we figured out how to stabilize our Facebook return, right? We realized now the interesting thing is when you scale your Facebook ads, I think we've learned that when you scale from spending like, say $100 a day to $1,000 a day, you're supposed to see a diminishing rate of return. But I think even up to 1,000, in some cases, we've seen return on ad spend accelerate. And we haven't reached the mark to where it started decelerating yet. And so the only thing holding us back is one of the things we were going to spend a lot of time on Q1 is because we know January and February tends to be slower, except we did have Valentine's. And so that we had a little spike there. We wanted to focus on scaling our production and expanding our operations. We started doing that. We were, buying more equipment and things of that nature. But, I think we kind of put that on hold right now because of the whole COVID restrictions, but we plan to, move out of our space that we currently have. We're hoping this summer, as long as everything goes as scheduled, so that we can bring more people in. Because it's right now, we're confident that we figured out how to scale our Facebook and as well as other expand on other marketing. But honestly, the best return we found so far has been on Facebook. That we can, as long as we have everything scaled on the production side of things, we should be able to hit that number. Now, last year, like I said, most of our sales were in Q4. 60% was, and a good portion of that was simply Black Friday through the end of the year. So we want to be ready definitely for Q4 this year by being able to have enough people and equipment ready to scale production. So that's our plan.
What kind of apps or tools or services do you use to run the business? You mentioned product personalizer. What other tools or apps do you use to help run the business?
Yeah. So early on, we used, and we still do, it's Stamped.io for reviews, because I think that really helped us with conversions initially to build social proof that way. On our website. We also use, like I mentioned before, a product personalizer. Those are our favorite ones. A tool called Fira AI as well, because we needed a solution for also social proof that people bought our product. So you'll see a little pop up. And initially we were worried about, we weren't sure we wanted to do that because we thought it would annoy people, but it actually helps convert. So we continue to use that. Other than that, those are the ones we rely on. We do use OmniSend to communicate with our email list, and we need to definitely be more active with that, because every time we do send out emails, someone that has the highest conversion rate, even better than Facebook actually.
Printing money.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Scott and Jacob. So I guess the last question for you guys: what do you think is important for you to focus on over this coming year to make another leap in growth?
We want to expand definitely our marketing presence too. We've been testing the waters with some trade shows and building a presence and doing more PR sort of activities. We've never really tried influencer marketing, but we want to do that as well. But the most important thing I think for me is building the whole community aspect of our business, so that we continue to build on our brand, our customer loyalty, and so that we have big plans for that for sure. So
awesome. Thank you so much. So Revival Jewelry at jewelrytolife.com. Thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing your experience.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Shopify Masters, the e-commerce podcast for ambitious entrepreneurs powered by Shopify.